So good morning, welcome. This is
He also read. So let's go and pray. Oh, Creator, loving God, good and perfect. You who commanded us that we are to seek the benefit of our brothers and sisters read. So on this grand day, as this delegation of that comes to meet this wonderful people here in Liberia, donation looking up that there be much learning, but more important, much relationship. For we know, God, that your spirit is, there is peace, there is prosperity, and there is safety. So in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray and ask all these things. Amen.
Amen.
so folks.
When I have our deputy director for administration, which is Daniel Gomes, welcome to office.
Good morning, everyone. We want to say to our partner, we are happy, we are excited to have you back in our year. Very, very excited. So on behalf of the management, the board of directors, management and staff of the Liberia Airport Authority, I want to welcome you all here this morning in the name of Jesus.
Thank you. Our facilitator, we have this is our witches, who will introduce our guest from Hartsfield-Jackson, and then we'll start with you. Thank you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You can do better than that. Much better. My name is Alvin Bridget Small, and I am the Executive Director for Protocol, Diplomacy, and International Affairs at Hartsfield-Jackson and London International Airport. And I would like to introduce the team from Atlanta. Point out, I am the architect of the Sister Airport Agreement Program. And it's truly a pleasure. We signed this agreement in 2017 after about 2 years of working closely with the former honorary Consul General of Liberia, St. Liberia Airport. But I'd like to introduce the team, Reverend Sean Smith, who represents Mayor Audrey Dickens. He's one of the senior advisors. George Brown, who is our assistant director, and manages the income portfolio. And none other than our amazing executive deputy general manager, Jack Lennon. And thank you so much for having us. And at this time, I'd like John to come forward. John.
Thank you. So, good morning, everyone. We need to get excited and energized, right? So, as you all know, in our space, right, we are always ready because we don't need to get ready, right? We are always prepared. And for us, changing conditions happen every single second. So nothing is static for us. It constantly changes. So we are trained and adaptable and flexible to move and operate in anything, in any situation. So this is what we are hoping that we're able to share with you today. So with that being said, if you don't mind, I'm not going to go to the podium. I like to move around. I want to get engaged. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me at any time. I will have some questions for you, but we must make this, very engaging so that we can ensure that we are exchanging dialogue. And again, we will learn from you as well. Is that understood? We clear? We good? Let me see a round of applause. Okay, let's get started.
They are workers of the Liberia Airport Authority. You see, from the security department to other parts. My name is Emmanuel Kanga, and I'd like to say welcome to Variety TV. So every official is here for this wonderful occasion. So you see they are posted in they are posted chit-chatting, having some fruitful discussion as this 2-day training commences on today. So before you as the key start the discussion right there. Monitor. So she starts from right there.
Okay, so we are ready. We're going to first start off with public safety and security. We always know that public safety and security is really your core, it's your foundation of our airport. It is so critically important because it sets the pace for everything else that's going to happen for your day. It sets the pace of everything that can happen in the world because what influences the world influences the posture of the level of public safety and security that we have at our airport. Most of you always hear that we are the world's busiest and most efficient airport. Now, understanding that equates to 108 million passengers a year, and that's 300,000 people in our building every single day. There's no place in the world that hosts 300,000 people in one building every single day but Hartsfield-Jackson. Y'all remember that, okay? Yes. Hey, this is the agenda that we'll go over today. And first, let's just give you a quick overview of our airport and ownership. Next. The airport is part of a municipality. Most people think that our airport is private, but it's not. It is a department within the city of Atlanta. And so the Department of Aviation roughly has approximately 900 and so employees. However, the campus of the airport has 63,000 employees. The airport, our mayor, 61st mayor, the Honorable Andre Dickens, is the mayor of the city of Atlanta. So that is our boss that over the airport. He's the boss over the city. He is the reason, a continuation of, as Irene talked about, here, right? Andre Dickens is very instrumental, not just from the city, but from a national and a global stage, about exchanging information and ideas to ensure we are operating at the next level. And we cannot do that without information. The more information you have, the better well prepared you are, right, to make decisions, to be, and also to be visionaries. Next, we have our General Manager, Ricky Smith. He started with us April of this year. And then there's me, Jalen, Executive Deputy General Manager at the airport. Next. This is the airport by the numbers. As you can see, we do a whole lot. But our airport, we're not sitting on a whole lot of land. Like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a place called Denver, Colorado, or Dallas, Texas. They have land, I mean lots of land. But we do it all, only on 4,700 acres. We do all of this. And that may seem like a lot, but it really isn't. We have 5 parallel runways. We have over 350 retail and concessions throughout our airport. We have several fuel farms, 1.1 million square foot of cargo. We have 197 gates as of today, and we will be expanding gates. We have 3 funeral farms, And we also, as you can see here, we have the various airlines that we have here, 28 passenger companies and 7 concourses. So again, we do a lot in this small footprint here at our airport. Next. So let's talk about public safety. Next. As you can see for public safety, what would be the number one priority for us? That is training. Training is what makes us the best, what we call ourselves a crisis management center, and that is training. We have a police department, which is a part of the city of Atlanta, and they have a zone at the airport who's responsible for the law enforcement at our airport. We have different systems, cybersecurity, we have contingency planning, we have video management systems and different partners that help us manage the public safety aspect of our airport. Next. Insider Threat Program. Now, Insider Threat Program is a program that started very small with us and now it is actually huge. Insider threat, who is an insider threat? Can anybody tell me? Who is an inside threat? Employees. Everybody in this room is a threat to your organization, whether it's intentional or unintentional. Because what? We have information pretty much that no one else has. So a person that works for your company is the greatest threat to you. They're the greatest asset, but they also the greatest threat. Because they can do so much more damage before you even find out, right? Because they know all the vulnerabilities of your operations, they know all the successes of your operations, they know how to manipulate and navigate through the system. So we have a very, very large insider threat program. So that's what I want to talk to you about first. Next. This is our objectives to acknowledge the ability to counter insider threats. We have so many different programs to help us protect people who could possibly be bad actors at the airport. We work with our infrastructure, any type of designs that we have. We're always talking about different technology and innovation we can install in the beginning to help us in this effort. And then also the additional training that we have, not just for the Department of Aviation, but for the entire airport, because everyone is a threat, including me. Everyone's a threat. Next. Types of insider threat. So you have the malicious, those that are intended to do harm. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're planning to do harm. Everyone knows about 9/11, correct? What happened in 9/11, right? All of those persons were strategically placed in the areas which they were, you know, with those that were the flight attendants that were going traveling and going to school, those that were on the ground, back, they were all employees somewhere within that system. So that made them an insider threat. There's not too many things that's going to happen in an organization that an employee was going to have involved. Right? We had a situation where we had an employee from New York Airport, an employee from Atlanta Airport. And they were gun smugglers. Because of the employee at the Atlanta Airport, what he would do, he had access to the airport, so he would bring the guns and bypass the security. Once his friend, who was leaving, going to New York, would get through security, he would come in, go to the gate level, and bring him the weapons. And those weapons then his friend would get on the plane and go to New York, right? Because the employee at Atlanta knew how he could circumvent the system. As a result of that, that's why employee screening now is the number one thing in our airports. Everyone has to get screened before they go to their work locations. We also have negligence. Sometimes it's just a mistake. It's nothing that they intended to do. They may have clicked on a link accidentally. They may have left out some confidential information, but that wasn't their intent. That was honestly a mistake. But still, that was an employee, and it happened within your facility, your department. So that is still considered an insider threat. Inside agents, as we talked about, third-party vendors. We have so many contractors, and you may have the same that work at the airport, right? Like I told you, 63,000 people on that campus, and that's made up Department of Aviation, airline employees, contractors, concessionaires, public area. So all of these are contractors that work for the airport, and they have malicious intent as well. And then you have the disgruntled employee. Everybody heard of the disgruntled employee? Raise your hand if you heard of the disgruntled employee. Yes. Someone is real mad that they got a discipline or they were terminated. Those are the employees that whatever information that they have or whatever friends they have on the inside tend to come back and try to do malicious harm. Next. Threat indicators. We look at their personal background, we look at some of their behaviors, see if they changed in their schedules. We look at their behaviors, that is so important. We look at we trace them actually through the Access Control Center to determine where they are within a particular day. What's their work patterns? What is their study? What are they doing different than they would normally do? Right? So these are the things that we do to try to identify someone that's doing some odd behavior before it becomes a greater issue. Violence. We have some employees that are very violent. They are very aggressive. Some of the things that they say. People don't understand your words mean a lot. When you make certain statements that terrorist threats, and people just kind of push that off, but you can't. You need to pay attention to that, and you have to report it. So this is the kind of training that we teach our employees. Do not take that as, oh, he's just upset, or that's just how Tom is. No, it is a threat, and we need to handle it as such. Next. The workflow. We just have an intake, as we talked about. We also do a target profile. We do all of the analysis, and then there's data sharing. And when we talk about data sharing, we talk about all of this information that's going to all one system. And so this system will be able to tell us and alarm us of these behaviors that we're seeing based off of certain employees. Okay? Next. And again, when we're talking about the data flow, that includes all of our convention, our stakeholders, all of our federal agencies. We have customs, we have FBI, we have TSA, we have the FAM. Delta is an airline that, Delta, I forgot to mention, they are our hub. We are a hub airport, meaning that we have one airline that this is their home. This is their hub, and that is Delta Airlines. And miraculously, Delta in our airport has celebrated 100 years in operation, so that's a great thing. Next. Mitigation standards. So again, as we talked about employee training, see something, say something. We want to get everyone involved. Take this seriously. Because remember, it will affect you eventually. So do not just shut it off. See something, say something. RAPBAC program. So let me talk about RAPBAC program. Normally in airports, you get fingerprinted. Everyone gets fingerprinted here. We go through any kind of in-depth background investigation. But we go through what we call a fingerprinting process to determine someone's criminal history. Then that person actually goes through 40 different databases with the federal government, right, to determine if they're on any type of terroristic list, terroristic activities. It just goes endless about the screening of that person's name, social security number that we can determine. After that, when a person starts working with you, the RAPBAC system, if there's any change in condition in their background, it notifies us immediately. So once it notifies us, we're able to deactivate the person's access to the airport and then bring them in. So that has been a game changer for us. Before, you were depending on people to tell you when they've done something wrong. Who's going to do that? So this way has helped us. We have enhanced access management policies that everyone is required to sign on. Work schedule access, again, as I talked to you about, people's schedules. Normally a person, if they're working 8 to 5, 11 to 3, 11 to 7, it doesn't make a difference. But that person's behavior change. we have to know. Establish strong offboarding protocols. Here's an area where we had to really enhance. When a person leaves the organization, what does that template look like when that person leaves your organization? What is your checklist? Are you making sure all of the access, all of the websites, all of the systems that they had at your airport, are they all turned off? Have they turned in every single key? All of these things, the phones, the laptops, we have to ensure that it is retrieved. And if it's not, we have to ensure they no longer have access, right? Because we know people use different phone numbers, different emails in order to circumvent the system. So that was something we really had to strengthen very well. Enhancing physical screening of employees. I was telling you about employee screening. Every employee that comes to our secure area has to be screened. So they go through the same type of screening as a passenger. It's just not the same equipment. Equipment is just a little different, but they go through an employee screening. So we can ensure that they don't have any weapons or explosives. Believe it or not, employees come to work with weapons. You know how many weapons we got last year? Yes, just from the employees. Yes? Yeah, how about that? Oh, look at this. Yeah. This whole 50 guns. Employees, right? And that's a lot. If you're talking about weapons for the passengers, you know, most people say, yes, we are number one in guns in the United States. But let's flip the narrative. We are the number one in gun detection because we are catching it, right? People are taking they're catching all these guns that are coming to the airport. We're catching them. That's why we're there. But if you look at 500 guns in a year, let's just say you catch one gun in a day, and we just move 140,000 people through a checkpoint, that equates to nothing. And one gun is too much, but again, so that's what's incredibly important. And lastly, behavior-based monitoring through our CCTV. We're doing a lot of work with our CCTV. Overlay AI. So therefore, eventually, when we'll just put a description in the system, it will do a scan of the entire airport and help us locate this person much quicker than how we're doing it today. So that's important to us. Insider threat compliance and reporting. We've talked about these things. We even have a private email where people can be anonymous and to give us information. That's been a really game changer for us. I think we could get more if we were able to attach money to it, but we haven't yet. The insider threat risk processes, and then, of course, our monthly IT dashboard. Information is key. When we share this information, people feel involved. They feel like they are a part. They feel that they are learning, and they want to be a part of that. Because remember, when you're talking about this is a very small number. The majority of your employees, they want to come to work. They just want to do their job. They want to help. They want to feel valued. So this is a very small group. But it's a very small group we have to pay attention to because it becomes very toxic and it can ruin the culture of your airport. Next. So next steps, credentialing. We call it credentialing. Again, before a person can be hired at the airport, they go through an extensive amount of training. Background, fingerprint, STAs, monitoring of their criminal history. We now are looking at, we are installing an identity management system that will give us more security. However, it will allow for a lot of the information to be handled online for a secure system and limiting the amount of time that they would have to come to our office. And also, this information is easy for us to monitor on a continuous basis. So we will have that system in place within the next, I think it's 9 months we have left to complete the system. We have vehicle. When we call out RFID, this is tracking our vehicles. When a person comes into the secure area of the airport, a vehicle, that vehicle must have a permit from the airport, right? And they too have to undergo a litany of background. They have to receive a permit. However, when a person leaves the airport, They just leave the airport. We don't know if they left the airport campus or not, but this tracking device will help us with that. And so now it is just a scanning motion, the database, all the information is there, and we can monitor just by our phone. Just quickly, what cars are there, when they came in, what time they came in, the date, everything. And also when they leave. So we are really excited about that program as well. Modernization of our airport security office. We'd like to make sure it's a one-stop shop. You can do everything because there's so many things that have to be done for you to get a badge, but it's segmented in different areas. But to make it one area, one-stop shop, to make it more efficient for the employee, for the office, and again, gaining different monitoring systems. ATLE. ATLE is our traffic enforcement. They are the first line of defense for public safety and security because they are the ones that are managing traffic, managing curbside, watching violations about shared riders, taxis, and so forth. They're the first ones when someone is have a question or need help, that's who they run to. So we have been doing a lot of work with ATLE. Congestion at our airport, traffic, anytime there's construction going on, there's construction at our airport all the time. But of course, our roadways are more congested as we have different things, or we have bad weather. The roadway is a big issue for us. So those are the things we're working on. Solicitation and enforcement programs. Again, when people are violating our rules, they are the ones that will issue the tickets or the fines, as we may call it, or we may have to tow the violators. Because again, we have to get people off our roadways in order for our emergency vehicles to get up, and also that our passengers need to get to their flights. If we tell them to be there 2 hours early and they can't get through the roadway system, it takes them 5 hours to get through the roadway system. We have now to meet the purpose. Taxi cab enforcement. They're one of our biggest violators at the airport, and we have to ensure that they are in compliance. So that's another improvement that we're doing there. Access control insider threat, that AI overlay that we're talking about for our CCTV. This has been a program that's been in place for about 3 years now, and now we're almost at the finish line. Insider threat, this to all of our stakeholders, that training, that information, so everyone can be part. One-stop security. Anyone familiar with one-stop security? So one-stop security, we were the first, DFW was second, then we became quickly on the inbound, the outbound, they became first, and we became second. But anyway, one-stop, when you come back in for international travel, and you have to connect, normally what do? You got to get your badge and screen. Well, this program eliminates that process. And people have been enjoying it such a great deal because your lunch is already in screen, right? So why do we have to do a rescreening? So we are excited about this. Our airports, DFW and Atlanta, have been experiencing this in Europe. So hopefully the more to come with this one-stop, people don't have to rescreen their luggage in the future. Enhanced passenger process. If you came through Atlanta, again, it will take about 3 seconds to go through customs. Anybody want to put money on it? Yeah, that's it. 3 to 6 seconds. Because now everything attached to your passport, when you come up and you get into the line, you stand there for 3 seconds, boom, that's it, you're over. You don't have to go about going to an agent and submitting all these documentation, questions you have to ask. Declaring, all of that's already done. It's done before you plan. So this has been really good. All of our passengers have been enjoying this a great deal. Image on alarm. Right now, when you go through passenger screening, the operator that's monitoring your screening, they have to look at everything that's in the bag. Everything. And determine if you have a prohibited item. Well, image on alarm will be a system that now it will only alarm if you have the prohibited item. So really, they do not have to look at all of the items. It's going to tell them. It's going to say there's a weapon, there's some explosive, there's something that does not belong, and it's going to immediately tell them, right? So therefore, you're not wasting time trying to do my makeup, all the other things in the bag. So that is going to be a game changer for us, and we're already testing the pilot in one of our checkpoints at the airport. So any questions about public safety and security? Any questions? No questions? I did such a good job that y'all don't have any questions? No? No questions? Yes.
My question is, one-stop security. So I want to know the details of that point. That's what I want to know.
One-stop security?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the U.S., let me explain this thing. I'm coming from Europe. Okay, so I'm coming from Paris. But my final destination is California. Okay. Now I'm on the plane, but I have to connect through Atlanta. Okay, I have to connect. So I left Paris, my first leg. I'm entering the United States, and I'm entering in Atlanta. Now, when I go through customs, what I have to do before one stop, I have to now retrieve my luggage from a carousel. I have to get that luggage. Then I have to go through another screening process of my luggage and my physical body, right? You have to go through that. Then I have to go through screening to get to a concourse, to get to the area in order to catch my flight to California. Now, this luggage in this bag has to go through its process. They have to get this luggage down to California, right, for you. And that has been a process. So there's been too many steps when the bag was already screened already when it was in Paris, right? So now when you come, you're going to come from Paris. It's just like any other connecting flight. You're going to land, and you're going to go to your gate and catch your flight to California. Your bags, your stuff, everything else has been taken care of. You do not have to go through those double screens anymore. So you coming to Atlanta? So that's exciting. Great question. Anything else? Yes.
All right. So, wherein you notice suspicious behavior of either an employee or person at the airport, are there outline or procedure that you follow to prevent profit? I'm saying you are at the airport, maybe you are a worker at the airport, and you notice a suspicious behavior that will cause harm to public safety. Are there online, like rating online procedure that is followed step by step, or do you just go ahead?
Great question, and we're going to do a lot of that when we talk about emergency management. A great question. What you must know is when there's a suspicious item in our airport, what do? We talked about see something, say something. So 911, universal, right? That's the number that everyone will call. But when they call it, normally it will go to a police, right? A police officer. It's going to go to the dispatch center at the airport. And remember, we have law enforcement on the campus. When they make that call and say, hey, there's a suspicious a bag at door A7, that control center will send the police, send security to that area, and then at that point they will take care of it. So they may have to send the dogs, they may even send bomb units, they will cordon off the area and make sure that it's safe. They will make sure no one's in that area, and then they will take care of it until it's actually cleared. And that's with any incident that happens at the airport. 911, which is our incident control center, and they would dispatch the resources to that particular area. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, so terminal traffic. We are getting into AI more. What's your thought on ensuring that safety is primary? What's your thought on AI ensuring that terminals are decongested? Because when you look at Liberia as a case study, right? A lot of the congestion that happened is because of human traffic, not just passengers. We're talking about people who serve the terminal daily. So what do you think, if we have AI in place, do you think safety will be primary, that is, AI will do the work effectively like the humans would do? Or what would you advise for a third world country like Liberia?
Okay, he wants to know about AI, right? AI as it relates to traffic management. And will that replace or what we're talking about, the human element of it, or with the system, the technology itself? You need both. You can't have one without the other, right? AI is look at it this way, it's an innovation tool of collection of data, right? And then it only can spit out or give you what was put in, right? But the human person is the one that's given this information. So AI is a good logistical tool for us, for our cameras, right? So we're able to identify someone quickly, to identify cars. So we have license tag readers, so every car that comes into the airport, it's their tags be ran through a system, so that we can identify that car eventually or something else later that happens. The human element, what we do is like we have bridges that come across the roadway that assist with getting some of the people off the roadway system and getting them across, right? That helps a little bit with the traffic management. It's still the design of the airport, just like we've now moved like our cell phone line. It was in a very high traffic area, right in the most valuable footprint of the airport. So for us to just move that further away from the airport made a difference, right, for congestion. You still have to have labor. We had to change gates. We're in the process of rerouting gates where you're sending all of our buses. We have a big bus operations like we do, but they're coming on that same footprint. But a simple design of us just rerouting the entry of that bus will save a lot of time and environmental efficiency there. So I think you need both combinations. That's how we look at that, and still needing the systems and the cameras and AI, all of that to help us with the data, help us to identify things quickly, but you still have to have that human factor. You still have to consider the design infrastructure of your airport, and you have to think about not just the now, but the future as well. Answer that? Any other questions? Any other questions? Yes.
My concern is the issue of access control. And what do you do, or who's responsible with respect to a former employee, having access to your terminal? Yeah,
Okay. The question is access control, and what do we do as it relates to a former employee who had access to the airport? And that is such a big question because, as I stated before, that was an area we had to enhance, greatly. Because, again, that employee has so much information. And then when you do not have a system in place, you tend to forget, and that person still had access because the chain, all of access for that individual was not eliminated. Because sometimes some of the procedures were so fully, you didn't even realize that they had access to certain areas. You find that out later. So now with systems and AI, some of our technology, everything is integrated, right? So you may have different systems, but it comes to one integrated portal. So when you shut off access, you shut off everything. So that was one of the things that we did. And then also having a digital record of every single inventory that the person had at the airport. So therefore, when that person leaves, whether they left in good standing or not, we can eliminate all of their resources. And I'm going to tell you another good thing, auditing. Auditing is important. People hear the word auditing and you just cringe, but you need it because that's going to give you the baseline of where you are. And it's also going to help you identify some issues before it becomes big. So we find things in those audits, and it's really good to have them. Yes.
I'm a compliance officer, right? Mm-hmm. Do I have the right to put a stop to a former employee from entering places they don't have to?
Yes, we do. Yes. Do you have the right to stop an employee? Yes, we do.
If there's a former employee, the former employee no longer have access. The only time the former employee will have access to the public area, like the administration, if they need to see somebody, and they will be checked in like a visitor, they will be escorted like anyone else. Because a lot of times people get comfortable with the former employee because they knew them and say, oh, come on in and let them do things. We don't do that. That has to cease. Good point. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Spoke about threats. Threats. In your explanation, you spoke about threats.
Transit.
Yes, what is the most efficient way that we can prevent threats?
Prevent.
Threats. In your deliberation, you spoke about that.
Transportation.
No, not transportation.
Threats.
Threats.
Yes. Okay. Yes. What is the most efficient way to minimize threats? Again, you have to have a comprehensive program. Nothing is 100%. And if anybody tells you something is 100%, they're just trying to get your money. Nothing is 100%. What you're doing is reducing the liability of something, reducing the possibility of the act happening. But it will not give you 100%. You have to have a strong insider threat program. You have to have a very strong, comprehensive employee screening program. You have to have a thorough, comprehensive background. And you have to constantly monitor the activity of the employee. Now, when we're talking about just the employee, you can't just talk about on a national level. See, we look at threats from a global level as well. Because the airports, there are attacks, and people are looking at us at all times. So we have to look at our systems, our water, infrastructure, all of that, electricity, to determine threats that could pose on the airport, that could actually cripple the airport. So again, employees are part of that factor, and then of course you have the external. So those are the things you have to have, and you have to invest, right? You can't just install and put things in place and then just leave it alone. You have to monitor, and as the gentleman said over here, you have to have a good compliance and enforcement program. We have an outstanding compliance and enforcement program, and that's what they do. We have a covert operation where people don't know who you are. You're not dressed in your regular airport clothing or your police officer. You're a covert. You're in there for a reason, to try to find out information so that we can find those threats as soon as possible. Great question. Oh, okay.
I have a question. When it comes to public safety and security, I got a little problem. When they talk about the public safety and security, actually, these are measures and action that are taken to protect the public harm, maybe danger or theft. But I work at the airport. I'm employee at the airport. And we don't have the sophisticated equipment or the material to prevent or protect these, to protect the public from danger, harm, or other things. So what can I do to apply such, means? Yeah.
Outstanding question. So let me say this. You do have the resources. You may not have the technology, but remember, before technology, what was there? It was us. It's a policy. It's a procedure. It is buy-in from your employees. It's getting them engaged to be able to feel comfortable to report incidents. And a safety program. You must have a safety program. And I mean, that's really simple policy and procedure. how people need to operate, how people need to navigate, in the area of the airport. And then the consistency of reinforcing that. Again, sometimes you have policies, we write the policy, we don't follow up anymore, we don't go back and determine if we're doing what the policy is supposed to, or should we be changing the policy to do what it is we're actually doing. So those are the things, if you don't have all of the technology, you may not have all of the people. Based on the people that you have, start with some good, solid policy and procedures, making sure that you are improving about it. You have to be consistent with it, right? And you also have to audit the policy with the employee. And do exercises on those policies. So therefore, you give them an incident that may happen and let them role play those incidents to ensure. But consistency is the main thing. Yes.
Okay. We talk about safety for the airport. Our police officers stand at the airport. So I want to ask, is it necessary to station or to wait until I be called or have to patrol to deter the departure to arrival? Is it necessary to patrol in the terminal, departure, arrival, or deter as a police officer?
Okay, good question. So he's asking, does it take a police officer to monitor departures, arrivals, or could it be another entity? Well, at our airport, it is several entities. So it's police officers, it's our airport security, it's our airside operations and our landside operations that actually, and our safety agents that actually actively is a part of that monitoring arrivals and departures and not to mention our federal partners as well. So it depends on your airport, but it is not only just the police officer, but it's a combination of things. More so for us, the police officer then becomes the enforcer, the arresting power that is needed that the other one does not have. Great question. Thank you. Any questions? Anything else on public safety and security? Okay, that concludes public safety and security. Thank you.
Okay, big hand clap for our representative. Useful information, particularly for airport security, our customs people, police, immigration, all security for our status here at the Rabbits International Airport. Once again, let's give our presenter a big hand clap. Thank you so much. So we're getting the 2-3 minutes break. If you want to run to the washroom, you can do that, and then we will immediately get into the second presentation for the day before lunch, and that is airport operations. Yeah. So take a quick break. 2-3 minutes, please. Don't be more than 5 minutes. Thank you.
So, phase one of the training. Phase one of the training is completed, and we await the next phase their fix will be phase 2 that will end the day. But with that, we're going to conduct a very short interaction with the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. You see right there is the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. And it's in Liberia Republic of Liberia station, Sisters Airport, it's International Airport. So you see it. This is the airport logo with an airline. You see it right there.